Hey Milan. So, top left-hand side, here's the organizer of the Melbourne Barcraft. So if you've been to Melbourne Barcraft, put a cheer in the chat. Do it right now for FaDerezyn. Good stuff for the Barcrafts. So just add that in. His opponent in the blue, down at this side here, is a blue Terran, Bugalugs. He's got a groovy little name here. He's looking to put down a supply depot, but it's actually just a little bit too early for that. Got to put that down at around about 10. Why am I continually pressing 1? Oh, that's right, because I keep thinking it's me playing. Anyway, supply depots go down for both players. We're not going to see any crazy Rezyn trying to find out what race that Bugalugs had rolled, but Bugalugs being very, very sneaky and not telling what he has. So he's going to keep the secret that he's got Thor. That he's got Terran. But here we go. Yeah, I'm really interested to see what Bugalugs is going to do because he does. He did roll random, and I'm not sure if that's his main or not. But we'll have to see in a second. Mouse wheel zoom off because I hate you. Anyway, starting out, getting that gas on time, looking good for both players. However, Rezyn's going to block off the ramp here. A little bit surprised about that. If you're facing against the random, I don't know. I'd probably say it'd be better to just send that quick scout over to find out what is going on before you put down that second supply, just because you can use it to get the gas a little bit quicker. But he did get across, finds out that his opponent did get the Terran, and saw, of course, that his gas was up and running, so there could be some tech out of Bugalugs pretty quickly here. We'll find out very soon what he is going to do. Rax completes, switching over the command center to the orbital command. Rax going to put out a couple Marines as well, and both these guys, it looks as if Rezyn is going to go for the 1 Rax expand. Of course, a little bit vulnerable sometimes to tech-based attacks, but he should be okay given the massive size of this map. Of course, if you're not really too familiar with this map, this is the ESV Muspelheim map, which has the nice little natural. It's got a destructible rocks here so that you can wall it off a little bit easier and then take down the rocks later. We've got a third that's in a nice little spot here. It's pretty simple for Zerg to take that third as well. You've then got these side bases as well, which can provide you with those extra sort of points of interest. There are big sections in the middle here that are all on high ground. You can control the high ground with some tanks and that kind of thing, and if you can do that, it's quite nice. There are these 2 Zelmerga watchtowers in the middle as well, as we can see on the minimap, providing you with a lot of vision. So as we mentioned, Rezyn going for the 1 Rax expand, follows up with a couple of extra racks and then a refinery as well. So it looks as if he is going to switch into pretty standard play from here once he gets that extra command center going. And meanwhile for Bugalugs, he's got his own little command center on the way, combat shields as well as a reactor here, so he is going to get out quite a few Marines to start with, I would assume, making sure that he does have enough defense, and we'll probably, I don't know, we'll have to see. It sort of depends when he, oh, there you go, takes the second gas, and we may see him probably just go for some standard stuff as well. Both these guys grabbing the second gas, probably going to get a factory up in just a moment as well. And yeah, we'll sort of see if they want to play out for a little bit of a longer game, or if they're going to stay here and just sort of mass up and then head up for an attack or not. It would be really interesting, as I said, just mainly because of Bugalugs. I'm not really sure if that's his best race or not. Actually, maybe I'll just ask him. Actually, no, I won't. Anyway, but Bugalugs just churning along here, getting out some more SCVs. He's up to 20 in total. Of course, because of his command center being a tiny bit behind, that does mean that he does have a slight deficit there. He's also going to have a deficit in the actual mineral income tab here, because Rezyn's going to have the extra mules to drop down and get some extra minerals coming in. So everything looking good at the moment for Rezyn. He's just going to we just got to see which tech these guys are going to go for. So combat shields and a lot of Marines for both of these players here, just making sure that they've look at that. That's in a flying V. That is a flying V of Marines. Check it out. That's awesome. but I do like that Resin has gone across to control the Zolnaga watchtowers, and as we can see, he's actually got 2 Marines at each of them just to make sure that he can actually control the tower. If one Marine was to come across from Bugalugs and try and take it back, he's not going to get it in any way, shape or form because of the fact that there are 2 of those there. So upgrades on the way for Bugalugs. He's got +1 to weapon attacks. For Resin at the moment, doesn't have any just yet, but he is going to have his factory up first, and that is obviously going to mean the difference between perhaps a little bit of the tank count or perhaps something else. Just looking at what's going on, in fact, Bugalugs, we're talking about 1 Marine going across to try and take the watchtower, and he actually sends his whole force of Marines, got a few left back at home to defend, but the command center down at the NAT has not been rallied onto the minerals just yet, which is just a slight little bit of a problem there. But as we can see, he's a little bit busy taking over the watchtowers for his own benefit. Meanwhile, for Resin, he's got his tank on the way. The combat shield's just about done, and just getting a little bit supply block, both of these players right now. As we can see, Bugalugs throwing down a couple of supply depots to make sure he can get everything back in order. So we're still kind of waiting to see what's going to happen here. It looks as if Bugalugs is just pushing across the map. He's making sure that there is no very quick third command center here for Resin. And of course, there is definitely none of that just yet. He's now got to contend with this Terran, who's just a little bit ahead of him in the worker count, now up at 35 SCVs for Resin, and down to just sitting at 30 at the moment for Bugalugs. Obviously, as we mentioned, with his command center up a little bit later, and then of course the fact that he did get supply block for quite a while at 46, just sort of weighing him down a little bit. But he is getting his extra tech up. We got the factory here. Starport is on the way. The tech lab just finishing up as well. And it looks as if Bugalugs is just going to have a quick look and see what's going on here. Perhaps he can do some damage. I don't think so, though. With the bunker there, he's not going to really get too much done. But Stim goes up, and it looks like Bugalugs is going to actually do a little bit of damage here. May get the bunker. If he gets the bunker, that'd be quite nice. But for the loss of all those Marines, I'm not sure if that was really too worth it in the end. And like a good Terran player, Resin sending across one of his SCVs to repair that bunker. So, as we said, things sort of looking the way of Resin at the moment, just mainly because he's obviously got a bit of a higher Marine count right now, 22 to 13 at the moment, so he's a little bit ahead in that regard. He's also going to have more medevacs out very soon. As we can see, Bugalugs is only just now getting the reactor on his starport, so it's just a little bit behind where Resin was, but as we can see, he's got a tank out a little bit quicker than his opponent, and Resin's only just going to get his tank started right about now. So this sort of, I don't know, it's sort of trading blows a little bit. Of course, Resin does have the advantage in the economy, as we can see, up at 48 SCVs to the 36 of Bugalugs, but I don't know, we'll have to see. In TVT, especially when you're doing tank marine, it does come down to quite a lot of the positional play, and these maps are beautifully designed for that kind of thing. As we said, if you can control the high ground here in these watchtowers, then you can control a lot of the area that your opponent has to push through. So we'll see what Resin is going to do in a moment here. I would not be surprised to see him load up one of these medevacs with a few of these Marines and perhaps go for a drop down at the back right hand side. We'll have a look-see and see if that happens in a moment. Medevac's just on the way for Bugalugs. Armory as well, making sure that he can get the +2 on his upgrades. We'd love to see a second eBay here as well, just to make sure he can churn those upgrades out as fast as he can. And there you go, reads my mind, bam. Bugalugs throwing down that second eBay to make sure he can get the upgrades going. And it looks like Resin is taking back the watchtowers himself. He's going to drop off a Marine up here, I would assume, and just make sure he's holding that. Probably going to see him expand behind this pressure. I don't think he's really going to look to try and attack into Bugalugs, especially as he may or may not know. He may, no, he won't know yet there's those tanks there, but don't be surprised if we see a scan very soon from Resin to make sure that he can find out exactly what his opponent is up to. Third command center is now just completing, switching over to the orbital command. We may see him grab this one instead of the one across to the side. Of course, if he takes this little spot here, he might be able to hold that a little bit better, given that the watchtower is already covering some of that area. But meanwhile, down at the third base of Bugalugs, an SCV is under hot pursuit from these Hellions, getting taken down while trying to build another command center at the third. But Bugalugs, with these tanks, if he can position the tanks nicely and actually get a good siege up, he may be able to just smash through all of these Marines that Resin has. So yeah, we're just, I don't know, it's sort of been a little bit slow in the attacks at the moment. Neither of these guys sort of committing too much to attacking either way, but now that it looks like Bugalugs is out of position. I think Resin is well aware of that. His opponent is just venturing across the other side. Now we've got all of these Marines, 17 in total, just pushing in. 15 in total, just pushing into the natural expand, catching Bugalugs unawares, and he's going to be able to take down some of those SCVs, but now he's going to be caught out. Meanwhile, back inside the main, a double drop of Marines also inside, going to do some more damage here. The SCVs transferred across into the main, so they're all going to go down here, and Resin is absolutely ripping it up. Bugalugs is, even his computer is not happy with what's going on here. I think his he's just lagging a bit, or perhaps he has actually disconnected. I'm not really sure. And I think, yeah, the sad face there from Resin. I think Bugalugs has dropped, unfortunately. Have to do the obligatory chill get out. And, yeah, I guess that is going to be it for Bugalugs. Going to be dropping out of this one. Of course, he was probably, I mean, oh, no, he's back. He's back. He may be able to try and fight back here, I don't know. But all the SCVs have gone down. We're down to 16 SCVs for Bugalugs. He is in a very, very troublesome position. I don't think he's going to be able to find his way back here. The only SCVs left are down here at the natural expand, dropping down a few mules. He does have these tanks. I don't know, if he wants to push and perhaps try and take advantage of the fact that he does have the tanks, he certainly could do some damage. But with this many Marines already out for Resin, not to mention the extra resupply of Marines coming out, 6 at a time, probably even more, I would assume, very soon with these extra racks up, he is going to be in a very good position. And wow, Resin just prepared for the drops if they were to come, putting down some turrets on the left-hand side. But Bugalugs, well aware that he's in a very, very awkward position, is now pushing out. If he detects that his opponent is up here, he may be able to perhaps siege up and take care of all of these Marines. But no, the medevac's trying to get a little bit further ahead of the curve, getting taken down by all those Marines. And Resin now just pumping up, stimming in with his 1-1, although of course Bugalugs has his own 1-1, but the Marines already are surrounding that group of tanks and the leftover Marines that Bugalugs has left, and that is going to be the end of Bugalugs. He's gone down to this very heavy, in fact, what else did Resin make? He made a few Hellions, but yeah, I think that is going to be the end of Bugalugs very soon. 38 supply against the 132 of Resin. He may try and do a little bit of defense here. He's made 2 expansion. Can he defense it? If you think he can defense it, make sure you post in the chat. All right, no Robs, I didn't know. No one said anything about it. So, anyway. Looks like Resin is going to take the win here, or is he just going to resupply on these Marines and Marauders here. He's now going to probably push across. He's got so many medevacs as well. Look at that. He's got a total of 11 medevacs. That's almost a medevac per Marine that he's got. In fact, no, it's not, because there's 42 Marines, so it's a little bit less than that. But either way, Hellion just doing a bit of scouting here, finding out what's going on. And there is the leftover SCVs. He's got a few inside the main, but that is basically it. We'll probably see some drops on top of the tanks. So, in fact, does he even need to? He's got combat shields, he's got stim. Send in an order first and he should be golden. But here we go, just sort of massing up here at just outside the natural base and the third, and it looks like Resin is going to push in just a second, just waiting for perhaps these few more units to come through. He's got doesn't have any other upgrades on the way, so he's going to stem up and sending in a random assortment of units here, just a few of these Marines and Marauders. I'm not sure what those extra guys are doing back at home, but takes down the tanks and the Marines anyway. He's going to stem inside, and then okay, was there a drop perhaps? Yes, there was, my bad. There was a drop across to the side, but either way, Bugalugs is in quite a lot of trouble. And with the rally Marines coming down, medevacs aplenty, Resin is going to take this one quite easily. And there you go, just stimming in, going to surround these Marines and the Marauders and the tank and the leftover medevacs. And a good night to Bugalugs. GG. There you go. Okay.